Welcome back to Veteran Revivals. I'm Art, your veteran idiot. This is Private Pile. We've been working on him for the last 275 days. Actually, I think this is episode 4. So I went ahead and did a bunch of stuff while you were away because it's just hours and hours and hours and hours of tedious here's, there's, everywhere's, wires, plugs, bolts, stuff like that. And so I wanted to get you guys back to the meat and potatoes because we are in fact on that 4th episode and you got to close this thing out at some point. So what I've done so far is I've pretty much run everything in for the wiring. The harness is all in for the Holley Terminator X. Vacuum lines are plugged in. I need to do the accelerator cable. That's not going to be a big deal. And the amp cables, also not a big deal. But all this is run down. I changed out the steering column for the automatic one. I took it out of Coachman. I just got to get another steering shaft put in there. It is somewhat of a direct swap, kind of. That mounting plate there on the firewall, you got to swap it out. And it's kind of involved because you got to pull the shaft apart and everything else like that. But I swapped a bunch of parts out of it, changed out the lock cylinder or the ignition cylinder and turn signals and all that stuff. So all that is good. So it was a lot more involved and took a lot more time than I thought it would, but it's good to go now. So I'll put the steering wheel in after we get the steering shaft put in and we get it centered. But, oh, well, got to turn the key on. By the way, we have ignition power all the way through, and then we'll get the bar and everything out of Coachman. Got the Terminator X in, it's bolted in up there, ran the harness and everything, and mounted the screen here. It's all wired in, ready to go. Fuel pump is priming, there's no fuel in the fuel cell, so it's just not going to create any pressure. It wants me to do the TPS auto set because I don't have the TPS hooked up, but everything is in and it is good to go, ready to fire up for the first time, and I'm excited for it. It shows all of our oil pressure and fuel pressure, so on and so forth. It's literally just air pressure in there because there's no fuel in the line, but look at that. All good to go. And the stereo works. But the amp cables aren't hooked up, so that's not all. Man, there's just a mess everywhere. I don't even know where to start with this. Put the shift lever on for the transfer case. Good to go there. The four-wheel drive light comes on when you put it in four-wheel drive, which is nice. And then we just need to wire in the reverse lights on this transmission, which is literally just pinning it out and all that business. So that's where we're at right now. We've got a laundry list of things that we still need to do. So we're going to go ahead and pick up that TPS connector and a bunch of other stuff. See if we can find some pulleys, get the upper and lower radiator hoses. And got the radiator out there. We just need to throw that in. Steering shaft on and on and on and on. It just keeps going, but that's the way it is sometimes. So I'm going to run and grab that stuff and we'll get back into it. But also, before I run and grab that stuff, I want to let you guys know that I have switched out the materials of the shirts. It used to be Gildan and they would shrink up and you'd have a midriff shirt.
Giggity giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
It's just, I was not happy with the way those shirts turned out and the way they turn out after you wash them 2 or 3 times. So I have switched over to Bella, switched everything on the website, went through and redesigned a bunch of stuff. Everything is brand new-ish. Some of the designs are still the same, but go check out the website, veteranrevivals.com. Look through all the merchandise, see if there's anything that you didn't see last time, pick it up because it is all new material. This Bella is much better. It's not going to shrink, it's stretchy. I'm happy. And we're going to do a lot better with this. And no more midriffs, no belly buttons, or underwear showing out the back. Well, back, got some fluid. Got the upper and lower radiator hose. They look like they've been on the shelf for a while. Also got the TPS connector, so we're going to throw this on real quick, drop in the radiator, put these hoses on, and I forgot to get gas. So we're going to run to the store and we're going to get gas and throw that in, and this thing should be ready to start up. Everything is all done in there, and I've got the oil filter relocated. Actually just need to run the hose, and I'm just going to hook up the mount, and I'm not going to hang it just yet until we get this inner fender on. But I want to put the inner fender on until I get the steering shaft because, well, you know. So let's go ahead and wire this guy in, and it should be pretty straightforward, except it's not because none of these are colored except for one in the middle. and it's the wrong color. All right, so I'm gonna do some research and then we'll throw this on. All right, so TPS is wired up. I didn't loom it yet because I want to make sure that we got actual signal, and I also made a bracket. Didn't make, I had one lying around that just happened to work perfectly for the throttle cable, so that is all hooked up. Now let's go see if it cycles inside. All right, the fuel pump's gonna cycle, but it doesn't have any fuel in it. Let's do an auto set. So much crap in here. Wizards, TPS auto set. Make sure ignition is on. It is. Slowly press the pedal to the floor twice. Wonder if that's full throttle. We'll look outside, but all right, it did it a bunch of times. Done. Now let's see if we've got TPS. Oh yeah. GTG, fellas. GTG. Ooh, perfect circle. Next, part of the reason I didn't fire it up last time is we didn't have a transmission dipstick and it wasn't full of fluid. So we're going to toss this in real quick, fill it up with fluid, and then we'll get this radiator in. There we go. Yeah. GTG. Let's fill her up. This thing takes about 12 quarts of Merc. We're going to put in like 6. And then when we fire it up, we'll see where we're at. The converter's still full, so on and so forth. So. Of course, it's leaking out. Why would it not? Now that we know this works, let's go ahead and get this tidied up. Ooh, girl, they're hot. I don't know why. We'll do some more taping in a little bit. I gotta get the coil on here. And then, yeah. So the coil's temporarily wired in. Everything looks like it's good to go. Oil filter is done. So I'm gonna grab the radiator and toss it up here. I don't have a pulley on here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the fluid in there, fill it up, get it ready. And then when I get ready to run this for a long time, we'll grab the pulley and the crank pulley off of Earl. Can't find them anywhere else. And we'll throw those on temporarily until we find some other ones. Woo! So, oddly enough, there's no rubber in these hangers. That is neat. So we'll just get it set up here for right now. And then we'll toss some rubber in there when we find them. Found some rubber from like a condenser. We'll just throw that under there for right meow. If we find something better, we'll throw that in there. Nice, very nice. This is a big radiator. It's supposed to be 460. Hopefully we're good. Should be good. I'm betting we're good, but never can tell these days. Tighten hers up. Oh boy. So, okay, good. I thought we were gonna have to use some reducers or something to get this in here. Does not appear that that's going to be the case. Just need some hose clamps. Ooh, child. Essentially everything else is done. So if this thing runs and we can get some fans for it, it'll drive down the street. That's a pretty cool thought after having worked on this thing for seemingly forever to get it to this point. That's a real nice hose clamp. Tell you what, real nice. Still gotta block off this heater hose. They like to put these big hoops in them so they trap air. It don't make no freaking sense. None. No sense at all. No sense was made at all. Burping them, pain in the arse. Why? You almost have to put a fitting in here to burp the air. Ridiculous. Whatevs, bro. Tighten her up. And then the heater hose is still open. We'll just loop that for right meow. Red Bull's got me all shaky. Man, we're running out of time. I gotta try and get this thing fired up tonight. Tonight. Because I only have today, and tomorrow I need to start working on cleaning out Earl, because we got a truck show on Saturday, the Roots and Boots in Queen Creek. So they're only allowing 60 trucks in there. Earl's one of them. Probably won't win, but he'll be there. bypass the heater hose. That's all bypassed. Let's start filling it up, and we'll put in the cooler later once we got the fender up here as well. That way we got a better idea of where things are coming and going. There's gonna be plenty of room for a clutch fan if we decide to do a clutch fan, but first you gotta find the pulleys. That's the biggest problem right now. Boop, in you go. Any leaks yet? You guys keep an eye out. It's leaking out the overflow. Bam. I don't see anything on the floor. That's a good sign. Okay, we're as full as I'm gonna get it. I think we're good to go get some fuel. And, well, I mean, you know what happens after that. Okie dokie, go. Wow. Okay, I think we are ready to crack this thing off. Open the garage door because I dumped about 1.5 gallons of it on the ground while I was trying to fill it up. It happens. So we'll see if the fuel pump primes, and if we get pressure up there, bleed all the air out of the system, and then we will crank it over and see if it goes bop, 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 bop.
How dare you?
Bah. Okay, let's prime up the fuel pump, and then maybe crack it off. All right, I can hear it blowing back in the tank back there. Let's see what we got. Whew. So, what I put the computer on is not a stay on fuse. So let me find one that stays on during crank, and then we'll start over again. Okay, now we should be good. Why is the fuel pump not kicking on? Why? I don't know if you can see me through this windshield, but disappointment is high. Okay, what's going on? What is going on with the fuel pump? Got no fuel pressure while cranking, and that's run directly from the ECM. Okay, I turned the fuel prime all the way up, so it runs forever. Let's see if that makes a difference on whatever is going on. Oh, boy. I think the voltage is dropping below 10 and it doesn't like it. This little battery here, she may not be enough. Okay, let's see what we got now. So I'm not completely sure why the fuel pump is cutting prime, so we'll see what we can do to fix that. It doesn't kick the pump back on when we cycle the key, and I'm not sure what that's all about. I have to run back through the wiring and all that stuff, but let's see what we can do for now, because it shows no fuel pressure. None at all. I'm not sure why. Interesting. Well, I don't know what to do with that, or the fuel pump is cutting off. All right, I'm gonna look some things up and get back to you. Okay, so I just cranked it over again. We got no RPM signal. So let's try and figure that out. It might have something to do with this TFI harness. It shouldn't require anything else, but apparently it does. So we'll look that up, see if we can't figure out a way to take care of that so we can get an RPM signal. How about now? Nada. No RPM signal at all. And I don't know why. I don't understand what is happening right now. Okay, so I've gone in, I've cried myself to sleep on my pillow, woke up this morning with a brand new ambition to get this taken care of. Also, if this shirt doesn't describe everything in life, I don't know what does. Anywho, it's not picking up any signal from this distributor because I was unaware that this is actually a remote TFI, and this plug is your pickup. So now that I am probably the only Ford guy, self-proclaimed, on the planet that didn't realize that this was pickup and this was remote, I thought it had the haul in, haul out on this side, like every Mustang distributor on the face of the planet. However, it does not, so it needs the pickup signal from here. So we got to do power in and pickup out and ground to this, and then tie it into this harness so it'll have a pickup, because it's not reading any of the revolutions of the distributor, and so essentially there's no cam sensor or crank sensor. So we got to fix that. And so we're going to tie that in, and that should fix our problem. We should be good from that point. And that should get it to fire off. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. And this is the way it's set up for just the general TFI that doesn't have a pickup. And this is the ignition control module that has the pickup inside of it internally. So we just have to make that wire go to this pigtail and a pickup, and it should go vroom vroom, boomity boom, all the good things. So that's what we're going to do this morning, and we don't have a whole lot of time because I've got to get Earl ready for this truck show. And so I'm going to slam away on this real quick. There's fans, there's relays, there's all kinds of other stuff coming, but it's going to have to wait probably until we get Earl cleaned, waxed, and ready for the show. So let's fix this pickup. Let's see if we could actually get this thing to fire off today. Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be great? Okay, let's see if we can't make it do things, very loud things, which reminds me, should put earmuffs on. Okay. Let's try. Oh! It wants to live. Give it a little throttle. What are we losing here? Something is awry. I'm not sure what it is. As soon as I pull back from the start, it kills it. So the power somewhere off the start is not giving it a go. Oh, she sounds nasty. We fixed that problem. Maybe. We just got to figure out why it cuts off after I come off the crank. And it's showing AFR is like 35. But we're also open header right on it, so it's probably not reading well. We'd probably need to put something beyond it just to give it collection, if you know what I mean. Let me see what I got. All right, let's see if we can modulate this somehow. That's not good. Let me double check the starter. I think that starter just hit the bed. Sweet. Well, it fired up. Oh. Alright, couldn't get it running long enough. What? Couldn't get it running long enough to build oil pressure to see if we're good in that aspect. But it started and it ran for 5 seconds-ish, maybe. We'll go back, it's probably like 2.5. Sounds like it needs a starter, which I kind of figured the way it was kind of loading up. It made it sound like it had a gallop when you were trying to start it. Man, okay. I guess, I don't know that we have enough time to go out and grab a starter to throw this in. I think we do. We'll go ahead, we'll run and grab a starter and toss it in here. And so we can keep rolling on this thing and maybe I can get it to idle and run. But right, it's got, I also have to buy an extension to put on the back because it's the O2 sensor or the wideband sensor is about this far from the end of the collector. So it is just, it's reading so lean because it's just circulating, and that may be part of our issue. But let's go ahead and go get a starter, I guess. All right, so appears fortune favors the guy with the extra engine over here that had the same starter. So our 240 out of Earl originally had the same starter, so we tossed that in there. The only difference is the top bolt's not threaded on one side, so we had to make a longer bolt with a nut to squeeze it in. Let's try it now. All right, round 3, 2, 2.5, 3, one of those. Oh, whoops. Guess the starter has to be hooked up, huh? Not totally necessary, but more than not necessary. Okay, and go. What's reading 3 pounds of oil pressure? Oil pressure gauge hooked up, plugged in. No bueno. Let's see. Okay, wait one. Okay, I think disaster is averted. Went and looked underneath and it was puking oil out of the oil filter. I didn't have the fitting tight, so it was just puking out above the oil filter. My bad. So we got our top dead center, got the timing set. Or 10 degrees from top dead center. Got the timing set. Now we are going to see, I put the drill on there and got 17 pounds of oil pressure with the drill. So let's see what we got now. Here we go. And go. How about now? And go. Really? I don't think we have teeth missing on there. I don't think we killed another starter. It's possible. So ran and went and got a new starter anyways. Those other 2 starters at minimum got to be 20 years old each. And they just didn't have the torque to spin this thing over. Teeth were slipping off. It's in alignment. The teeth on the one that I pulled off over there, it had already grooved a section out from trying to spin it. So we're going to try this. The flex plate looks absolutely fine. So we'll just put this in. There's no adjustment on these, by the way. They only fit in, and that's the way it is. There's a ring around the top that centers it in there. And that's the way it is. Not like the GMs where you got up and down, up on the flywheel, so on and so forth. So throw this guy in and see if it spins it better than what it is. It's tight. It's a real tight engine with the new rings on there. All the resistance is high. So let's throw this in. The starter is in. I'm gonna turn this just a couple more just to make sure that we're really not just a over tight engine. Now we should be good. And turn the ignition on. The oil pump is primed. Flip this screen around where we can see it. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Oh, this battery just ain't got it, if you know what I'm saying. All right, one more time. Like I said, I don't know if you heard anything I was saying that entire time. But we just switched up the timing a little bit. It was way behind on timing. Smoking out the valve cover here. And as I was watching it, the oil pressure was starting to go down. So there are some concerns. Did fire up, but the smoke out of the valve cover right now and the oil pressure going down, ominous. I don't have any more time to keep digging into this. We're gonna have to call it there. It ran, doesn't run well, it ran. We can start digging into why it wasn't running so well and why the oil pressure started dropping. Oil level is good. See how well it turns over by hand.
That's not good.
Real tight. Real tight. I don't think that's a compression thing. Hate to say it, but I think I'm gonna have to take this engine back out.
What?
It's way too tight. It wasn't the crank bearings. Crank bearings were all loose. They were at the top end of the tolerances. I'm not sure whether it's the cam that we were having issues with before or one of the passages are blocked or something. But I think we're gonna have to pull it back out. Smoke out of the valve cover. There's some hot bearings down in there somewhere. Not good. Not good at all. All right, well, this concludes today's episode of how to not swap over a 460 into a Bronco. I'm really hoping that everything is still good with this. I'm gonna pull it out anyways, and it's gonna be a lot of work, but I haven't completely bolted everything down. So I'm gonna yank the engine back out and I'm gonna run through it, but I ain't got no time for that today. Today I gotta finish up Earl and get it to that truck show tomorrow. So we'll see what's wrong with this thing in the next episode. Man, what a roller coaster, and it came off the rails. This thing has been giving us trouble from the very beginning. Just not good. Well, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you check out the merchandise at www.veteranrevivals.com. I'm probably going to need a little extra cash for whatever's going on with this. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, have fun. Okay.